be a Napoleonic Wargaming live stream without the awesome setup. There we go. Let's get this in position. There we are. Oh. Here we go. Now, as you can see, I'm not actually doing Napoleonics today, although I do have some on the table. I am, in fact, doing my Flames of War Japanese. Banzai indeed, Dan. I'm not in my usual painting position either, so apologies for the rather scrappy setup. But I do have some cannons here anyway. I've got some rebasing to do, so I thought I'd crack on with those. If I can find my paint. Where are we? Are you the paint? Nope. This is fantastic television, I'm sure. What have I done with it? Nope, not yet. Right, well, we'll come back to those when I have found the paint. No, they are not French blue. No, it's not. No, you're right, they are not French. I've got a game tomorrow. It's my first game of Flames of War using this army. So I've played Flames of War quite a bit. I've got a German army that I use for that. And yeah, this is the first time I'm going to use my Japanese, so I'm quite excited about that. I also don't play early war very often either, so I'm quite looking forward to doing that. But I thought we'd start off with getting these two cannons done, and then we can take it from there. I'm trying to work out. Oh, it's my table. It's like a little sort of put me up table. There we go. If I put my feet on it, hopefully that'll stop it moving around so much and giving people motion sickness, which I'm sure it is doing. So yeah, so what I thought I would do, because I need to get this done for tomorrow, I thought the best thing to do would be to combine a bit of a paint-along with just sort of letting you guys know what's happening after the summer break. So those of you who don't know, I'm having a break in August. I'll be having the month off, so this will be the last video until the first Sunday in September. It's either the Sunday or the Wednesday. Let me just check on my my calendar. I just realised as well I'm painting off the thing. Actually, the first is a Wednesday, but it will be the first Sunday, so it'll be the 5th of September. I'm just going to adjust this this stand. Hang on. There we go. I'm showing the very edges of the table now, which is where all the detritus is lying. You can see I've got some Team Yankee counters there as well. Yeah, so it'll be the 5th of September is when I will be back. And as with last year, we had Russia month in October. So we'll be having a themed month in October. And this year it's going to be on the Ottomans and the the various Egyptian campaigns. Obviously, Napoleon, 14. In fact, I think it was the anniversary of the Battle of Abu Qir, which was the land battle, not the naval one. The one where Murat got shot in the face. That was the day before yesterday, I think. So yeah, so October we're going to be looking at Ottomanober, as I'm calling it, and we're going to be doing some deep dives into the Ottoman army. We'll be looking at how to collect the Ottomans, some ideas for rules, a bit like I did with the Americans, and we'll also be looking at some of their history as well. And hopefully, if I've got enough figures done in time, hopefully we'll even be able to get a battle report in as well. I'm hoping over August to get some battles in. Now, we're obviously due a review of the lockdown in the UK in September. Now, I have to say, I am rather pessimistic about the outcome of that. I think we are probably going to have some lockdown measures back again, which will make the club quite difficult to get into. So I'm hoping over August time and early September that we can get some games in and maybe release those over October November time if we're unable to make any more. Where's the War of 1812 stuff tonight? No War of 1812 tonight, I'm afraid. This is Japanese. This is, well, I mean, I guess it's still against the Americans, I suppose. Well, actually, it's going to be against the Soviets tomorrow. So we're doing 1933. 1936, I think they fought the Russians. I read recently that the Japanese had more troops on the Russian border with Manchuria than they actually did in the Pacific. So yeah, there you go. I'm certainly not. World War II is a little bit like the War of 1812. I'm always a little bit loath to get into it because I know the people who are into it are really, really into it. So I'm always a little bit loath to say stuff like that because I'm sure I'm sure almost anyone will know more than me about it, and they'll tell me I'm wrong. So. Best of luck then. Used to be hugely into Flames Warp, lost interest with the last edition change. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people don't like version 4. We are actually playing version 3 for two reasons. One, that's what a load of the guys at the club like, so that's what we'll be using anyway. And secondly, there aren't actually the rules for Japanese in version 4 yet. I don't know. I haven't played version 4 Flames Warp. I've just got loads of brown on his trousers there. Never mind. I haven't played version 4 Flames of War yet, so I can't really pass comment on it. But I do know quite a lot of people have, and they like to go back and play Third Ed. So I think that says something of itself. I'm going to get that out of the way because it looks cool in the camera shot there. Let's see if I can get it on the edge of the camera shot. It's the standard bearer. There we go. He looks cool, but I'm really worried I'm going to accidentally dab his flag with a big blob of brown. I'll have to do the whole thing again. And when you have to redo these things, they never ever look as good as when you've done them the first time. So that's my concern. Leslie asks, what are my plans for August? They are to not do any videos. That's basically as far as I've got so far. No, so I've got actually a Warhammer tournament I'm going to. That's run by the Triple Crown Wargaming boys. I can see one of them in the chat at the moment. He likes my Ottoman Ober. So Triple Crown Wargaming are a bunch of chaps down in Essex, and they are keeping the fantasy flame alive for 8th edition fantasy. And they are running a tournament in Derby 2-3 weeks, I think. So I've been sculpting these guys to go to that one. This is a problem with my thing. I never get anything done. I've been sculpting the beards on these guys. I 3D printed them. I've been sculpting the beards because I like the old Babylonian style beards. So hopefully they'll be done for for Derby. And then at the start of September, or was it the end of September? Sometime in September, we've got a tournament in Cardiff for fantasy as well. And that's done by the Welsh guys. I'm not sure who they are. But Triple Crown, they've got a very good channel. They're an upcoming YouTube channel. They've got a paid sub website as well. I've not seen any of the content on there because I am a Yorkshireman and thus very, very tight. But one thing I should say actually is on their YouTube channel they do a series called This Month in Warhammer, and it's not the latest episode; it's the episode before that. There's actually an interview with me, in which you can there's a face reveal. So if you ever want to see what I look like, and believe me, you really don't, but if for some reason you do, check out Triple Crown Wargaming. It's not their latest This Month in Warhammer, the previous one. After about 15-20 minutes, I talk about a project I'm doing to do with Warhammer Fantasy, And yeah, so that you can see my ugly mug on there. But as I say, I wouldn't recommend. I'd recommend watching it, well, listening to it, have it on in the background, but cover your eyes or something, because ugh, no one wants to see me, I tell you. So 14th, 15th of August. There you go. Thank you, Triple Crown Wargaming. I'm glad someone knows, because I don't. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. So that's one of my plans for August. Yes, no. I've got big plans for the channel as well, actually. So I should say two things which are sort of linked and not. So something that I'm going to be doing for Christmas time. Thank you for the super chat, Gaslight. Thank you very much, dude. That's very, very much appreciated. Yeah, something that I'm thinking of doing for Christmas time. Now, let me know if you think this would be a good idea or not. Oh, we got a fire engine going past. That's very bizarre. It's quite a narrow road here. So, okay. Right, anyway. Yes, something I'm thinking of doing for Christmas is a book of collected scripts. Now, the one I'm thinking of at the moment are the 5 parts of the Prussians, the deep dive into the Prussians that we've just finished. So I'm thinking of collecting those scripts into a book, maybe adding a few extras. I don't know if you've seen the comments on the latest one, but someone put a really cool comment about the when there was a fire in Wavre, and it was quite a bit of an epic story in how that got sorted out. So I'll be adding things like that I've subsequently found, and then collating all 5 scripts together, editing them slightly, and then putting them in a book. So I'm looking at pricing the book around about $9.99, possibly as high as $11.99, but that's the absolute limit. It certainly won't be any more than that. It just depends on the costs of getting it printed, really. But let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in. The other thing I'm doing, and it kind of links into it, is I'm going to be what I've been referring to as digitally remastering some of my previous videos. Now, one of the ones in particular that I want to do is the French Old Guard video. I've had a lot of complaints that the audio is not very good on that one. I think the audio kind of drifts in and out a little bit. So I want to redo that one. I also want to add sound effects and like cannon fire and things like that as well. So if those are things that sound interesting to you, please let me know, and I will definitely jump into that. Cryo Kinsey, thank you very much, dude, for 55 SEK. I don't know, is that? I don't know what currency that is. South Korean? I don't know. Thank you very much. Thank you for the 55 of them. Thank you. So, what's the best way to get pictures to me again? Andreas asks. Hopefully, my first red coat should come by the time I'm back from vacation. You can either send them to me on the Facebook page, or you can email them to me. Email is thenapoleonicwargamer@gmail.com, because when I first set up the channel, I went between Napoleonic Wargaming and the Napoleonic Wargamer about 15 times. And I wasn't sure which one to go for. So in the end, I went for Napoleonic Wargaming. But I am the Napoleonic Wargamer@gmail.com is my email. But Facebook's probably the best way to send them to me, if I'm honest. I don't know what the hell I've done to this brush, but it is not in a good shape. Now, what I'm going to be doing now, this is how I do all my bases, including my Napoleonic ones. In fact, I've got a couple of cannons here that I've already done. So these are nice and dry. I'll need to leave those 2 that I've just done for 24 hours to dry. So that's them done for now. But I've got 2 cannons here. This is not getting my Japanese done at all, is it? I've got these 2 bases here. These have been base coated Mornfang Brown. I've had people ask me how I do my bases before. So this is just Mornfang Brown from Games Workshop. It's a base. Now you will have seen then I water it down quite a lot. I let the sand soak up the paint. That's the best way I find to do it. Now I'm going to dry brush. Now I often dry brush with one of 2 colours. It's either Baneblade Brown or Steel Legion Drab, which is this one here. As you can see there, I mean, they're pretty similar. What you could do really, I guess, is do Steel Legion Drab and then do a final dry brush with Baneblade Brown. But I am far too busy / lazy for that. So I'm going to go straight for the Baneblade Brown. Oh, they are Swedish kronas. Thank you very much, Cryo Kinsey. for 55 Swedish kroners. That's awesome. Also, love the, like, it's an awesome sounding currency. Kroners sounds great. It sounds like something that should be used by, like, the Empire or something like that. No, it's super cool. Right, so let's get that one out of the way. Oh, I've just noticed I've missed the top of the carriage on that one. Now, as you can see, these aren't finished yet. I've still got the buckets to do. I've still got the metal on the top. That's all right. I can get the bases done. And as you can see, this brown I'm using, I might have just put that off camera. There we go. It's quite pale. So this is going to be quite a big contrast here. So it needs to be very, very light. Now, you can see I'm going backwards and forwards. I'm not touching the base yet. I'm going to bring the brush down onto the base. There we go. And I'm going to let the sand pick up the lighter colour. You can see a bit here where the sand's rubbed off. It looks like I've put the PVA glue on there and then held it with my thumb and rubbed the glue off. But it's not the end of the world because I will be covering that with static grass in a bit. So try not to go the same way if you can avoid it, because then you end up with lines. So you can do circles like this, or you can just go like up and down and then side to side like that. So what else have I got in October? Well, I've also got some painting projects that I want to get finished from my Napoleonics as well. My Bavarians, I want to get those guys into a position where we can have some games with them. I also want to get my I also want to get cracking on my Russian Guard now, because of the story that Front Rank are selling the business. The chap who runs it's retiring. I have to say he's put in many years before the mast, so fair play to him. He certainly earned his retirement. I was a little concerned that Front Rank, what's going to happen to their catalogue? Are they going to keep going? So I bought a load of the Russian Guard to do the Russian Guard with. I think I've got four, 5 infantry battalions. So I need to get those finished over the autumn as well. And we are planning, this is a bit of a world exclusive. We are planning in September quite a large game up in the northeast. So some of you who will have seen the Catrabra refight we did with Richie Hall, who you may know from a few of the Facebook groups. Hopefully we'll be having a game with him in September. Myself and General Dan will be going up there. And I think it's going to be a sort of Waterloo campaign battle. I'm not sure how historically accurate it's going to be. We were just talking about it actually before I came on air, but I was too busy making myself a cup of coffee and trying to sort out this Japanese flag. I haven't fully read it yet, so we'll see how that one goes. So yeah, so no. So anyway, back to the channel, which is what we're really here for. So yeah, so the idea of October is just to give me a bit of a breather. Let me get from under doing the scripts. It's not, I mean, I'm not complaining because I absolutely love doing them, but it just gives me that little breather. It means I can spend a little bit longer and get some of the episodes that require a bit more research done. So you may have noticed I've done a lot of gameplay videos in the last few weeks. That's because they require a little less sort of book research than the quote history ones. I've not really had time. We've been getting back busy again at work, and I'm just exhausted, to be honest. So that's looking pretty good to me. There's a bit between his legs there that I've missed, so I might. Both the legs, in fact. So let's get rid of this. Still wet. Bring this on. There we go. Again, I'm not too concerned about this. Sorry, I had a paintbrush between my teeth. Again, I'm not too concerned about this because I can either cover it with static grass or just not worry about it because you probably can't see it next to the gun anyway. But pretty happy with that. I need to get some makeup brushes. Yes, no, I've heard about makeup brushes being very good, actually. yeah, I tend to use sort of these ones that are just absolutely knackered. But no, I have heard makeup brushes are pretty good. I'll bung that on there. Now I'm going to add a couple more extras while I'm doing some dry brushing. These are knights. This is completely out of left field. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing at all. But they're looking at me and they need doing. So let's get them done now. Now these are for my Wars of the Roses army, which I use the Art de la Guerre rules. Now they did do a Napoleonic version of Art de la Guerre, which the name of which currently escapes me. But it's not really taken off from what I can see. But I don't know. It's, if anyone's played it, let me know in the chat. I'd be interested to get people's thoughts. I'm always interested by people's rules. Again, sometimes I get comments of people saying that, "Oh, you ever play as Black Powder," which is true to an extent because I don't get as much time to play as often as I would like. But I'm always open to playing other games. In fact, just before the last lockdown we had, well, it was before I got the COVID actually, which then led into the lockdown. So sort of last September, October, I played a really good game of Beluga with Alex from Storm of Steel. Again, that's another great channel. If you've not checked that out, I certainly would. Particularly if you like your 20th century warfare. He's very keen on that. World War One, World War Two, well, World War One, as the name would suggest. He is a big fan of Chain of Command. He's got quite a lot of videos on that. So, yeah, check out the award-winning, I should say, Storm of Steel, because he won a Caesar Award this year as well. So, well done to him. But, yeah, check his channel out as well. It looks like you're doing sludge with both Knights and Nap Artillery. Yeah, to be honest, I base pretty much everything the same. Unless they are on desert or something like that, they all get based pretty much the same. It's not very good light to see this, which is why I try not to paint here if I can. But unfortunately, I've been forced to today. But the light's quite strong coming through that window, so it does wash everything out a little bit. So let's get on to these Japanese command bases. This is what I'm actually supposed to be doing. Yeah, we're doing 1,750 points tomorrow of early war, World War II. I am against Soviets, and I believe I've got a German player on my team. We're doing a 2 versus 2. Now, my headcanon for the German is that they are, in fact, occupied Manchurian forces, who the Kuomintang, they used German equipment. So these guys, I'm saying, have captured some German equipment, and they're using it against the Soviets. That's what I'm going with anyway. There's a film called, I think it's called the 800 or the 900 or something. It came out last year. That's about the Japanese invasion of Manchuria. It's a Chinese film, and it was pretty good actually. I quite enjoyed it. I went to see it at the cinema. I was the only person in the cinema, so that's always a bonus. I tend to find. Mr. Kilorowski, hello. Nice to see you again. Yeah, regular in these streams. Yeah, I had a couple of people who were saying that they need more advance notice of these live streams. I hear that. It was just something I decided to do today because I had to get these bases done, and I also wanted to get this channel update done as well. So so I thought I'd just combine the two. But yeah, no, I think this year, going back over it, please let me know your thoughts in the comments, because there's no point in me doing content if it's not the content that people are interested in. But I think we've had a good mix. We've had some good gaming stuff. The War of 1812s changed things up a little bit, and we finished the Prussian series as well. I actually had a look when I uploaded the first Prussian video, and it was a year and 3 days before I finished it. So it did last over a year, but only just. If there's a specific type of content or a very specific video that you'd like to see, please let me know either in the chat or you can message me. If I can. I get a lot of people asking me to do Sweden and Denmark, which yeah, I'm happy to do. I'll say it now. I don't know anything at all about either of those armies, so it's going to require a little bit of time for me to research. But I'm more than happy to do that because it'll be something I don't really know much about either. I found out with the Prussians, actually, doing them, they were a topic I didn't know a huge amount about until I started really researching them. And the more I read about them, the more interested I was. This is going to upset General Dan if he's still here. But the more I researched them, the more interested I was in the Prussians, actually. And I can very much see myself getting a Prussian army at some point. Just a small one to bolster my other forces. Maybe just 16th Brigade. So what's that? 3 battalions of reserve infantry, 6 battalions of Landwehr, some cannons, and 2 squadrons of lancers. I think that's a suitable army in of itself. Ian Crew has just turned on while you're painting some of these Brunswickers. Oh, yeah. So that's cool. Now I'm looking forward to seeing the Brunswickers. That's another thing I need to get from Front Rank, actually. The Brunswick OL, who I'm not sure many people do the Brunswick OL. Well, I'm sure there are plenty of people who do them, but ones that I like, I've not seen many. So the good thing about the Brunswick OL as well is that sort of 24 of them, and that's it. You got them all. So that's quite nice. Let me just... I can see... I'm really sorry. I've just noticed I've been doing this last base almost completely off the screen. I've normally got my green... my green cutting mat to remind me of where to be, but I'm far too close, painting too close to myself, aren't I? Let's get them here then. Something that I am, hello Conradson, something that I am thinking of doing, again, let me know if you'd be interested, is doing Saturday morning, I've mentioned this before, Saturday morning paint-alongs. This would be a members only like hangout. Now I can't do this Saturday because I've got a prior engagement for that one, I'm afraid. But certainly in the future, maybe coming back in September, I tend to try and do a couple of hours painting Saturday mornings anyway. So if we can do a hangout, then why not? It's much better than just being on your own painting. Damjan, I appreciate your streams. It's quite relaxed. Yeah, I mean, well, there's no point being stressed out while we're painting. Able to chat. Absolutely. Yeah, it's I mean, painting is one of those things I find where sometimes it's quite nice just to sit in silence and just be alone with your own thoughts for a while. It's quite nice. It's a very good way of unwinding after a busy day, I find. But there's other times as well where it's just cool to hang out and chat rubbish and maybe swap some ideas. Right, so that one's looking a bit better, I think. Now, one problem that I am encountering here, and it's because I haven't thought it through, so that tends to be this is a layer paint, not a base. So as I'm going around the rims of the bases, some of them haven't been undercoated. So this one here is brown, so that one should be all right. But these ones are still black, so the paint's not really going over. Now, these I should have painted Steel Legion drab, and in fact, I may end up going back and painting them Steel Legion drab. But for tomorrow, because speed is of the essence, they're going to have to be Baneblade brown, I think. So I'll pop them there. On to the next one. Sludge. Oh, yes. Sorry, yes, no, Andres. Yes, it is, isn't it? Sludge is a fantasy Napoleonic game. In fact, I'm not sure who it is. It may well be you, who's been making Napoleonic zombies. Now, part of me is like, well, you know, I think historical should be historical, and fantasy should be fantasy, and you know that's right. But then another part of me is they're just really cool. So I can see myself getting into Sludge, I have to say. Yes, no, that's a good point. I'd forgotten about that. No, yeah, well reminded. Another thing I meant to ask, actually, I was thinking today, what can I talk about on the stream? Is Absolute Emperor, the Osprey rules. Has anyone played those? I've seen them, and I was going to pick them up from Caliber Books, but they wanted something like $4.99 shipping. And I was like, well, I don't think so. So I haven't bought them yet. And it's purely from Caliber Books' price gouging on the shipping. But yeah, anyone play them? Any good? Worth buying? I tend to find most Napoleonic rules are worth buying. Even if you don't like the rules, normally there's something cool in the book. I've often said, I think one of the best Napoleonic books I've ever bought is the Warhammer Ancient Battles set Waterloo. The rules are absolutely appalling. I don't think I've ever played a historical game with rules as stupid as those. But the book is absolutely awesome. It's got a really good potted history of the Napoleonic Wars. It's got some really nice art in there. Yeah, no, it's fantastic. But the rules are just complete garbage. Hello, Basement 1908. Boots on the Table with Dom. Hello, Boots on the Table. I've been watching some of your content recently, actually. Just used my first Swedish army. Oh, excellent! Oh, you got Swedes. Oh, cool. I might have to hit you up there, and we can talk Swedes. Just don't use them against the Americans because they'll win 3-0. I don't know. It's a football joke. I don't know how many people get that, but yeah, Sweden beat America. Had something like the women had something like 34 games without a loss, and then they lost 3-0 to Sweden the other day, which was nice. Always like to see an underdog do well, which is why I'm. Oh no, that's something else I bought recently. I bought my first box of Spanish infantry from Warlord as well. Now I'm thinking of doing a review of them because I hear. Well, here's a spoiler, I guess. I've heard nothing but bad things about their resin, and I had I must say, a fairly quick look at these Spanish. I've not really gone to town with all the figures, but I got about half a dozen out and had a good inspection. And they looked pretty good to me. Now, I've not painted them up yet. But I thought about doing a review just to maybe... there's a lot of hearsay out there about the quality of the resin. So I just thought, well, let's actually have a full review. Again, there are channels out there that do reviews much better than me, which is why I tend not to. NI Miniatures is really, really good for figure reviews. So check those out. I'm not sure if they've done Spanish infantry or not. They've done most stuff. Not sure if they've done Spanish infantry, but yeah, no, definitely check out NI Miniatures. He's only a young guy, and he's really enthusiastic. And what I really like about him is, again, he's only a young guy, but he's got a really good eye for what makes good figures and, like, what the problems are with some of the figures and things like that. So he's definitely worth checking out. Basically, looks stellar, at least similar to mine. Oh, well, thank you, Andres. It's he gets there, gets the job done. That's the important thing. Basement, I'm always ready for more about Power Battle reports. Yeah. What figures there? They look like Russians. These are Japanese. They are World War II Japanese. So I've gone to paint them. I spent ages trying to find a paint, a Games Workshop paint to match the sort of yellow. I couldn't find one, so I went for Vallejo in the end. I just went for Japanese uniform. So I painted them with that, and I have then washed them with Seraphim Sepia that brings all the detail out. Because one of the problems is all their straps and stuff. So say the Brits, their straps are green, and their battle dress is the khaki. So you get quite a nice contrast there. But with the Japanese, everything was that same sort of mustard yellow. So I've tried to use the wash to try and bring out some of the details with, I think, varying degrees of success, shall we say. Let's get that going on. There we go. I've remembered as well, these officers, I haven't done the flesh for them yet either, have I? The other big thing I need to do is the helmets. Now, I may end up taking the green to work with me tomorrow, and on my lunch break, just closing up the Fortress of Solitude and painting all the helmets in my lunch break. So, So these are the famous Japanese knee mortars. They didn't really fire them from their knees, but that's what they're known as. Just a 2-inch mortar, basically. The British, well, when I was in the army in the late 90s, early 2000s, they still used the 2-inch mortar. It's not really good. It's good for smoke. It's probably the thing you use it most for. We certainly did when we planned our platoon attacks. Right, so that's that done. That's cool. Let's have a look. Weird war exists, so why not Weird Napoleon? Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Kirosky. Why not indeed? I read a book years and years ago about a dude who fought the Battle of Waterloo, and he was recruited by like a secret society to hunt vampires or something. He was he was like a local author, and I can't really remember much about it. I remember it not being particularly good, which was a shame because I wanted it to be good. But yeah, no, that could be quite cool. 2, 4, 6. So now we get to the infantry company. Now, I'm probably not going to do the edges of these bases because I'm noticing quite a few of them haven't been undercoated yet, and I'm very much against the clock. So let's get these going on. I've been fairly liberal with these. Again, these are going to end up being sort of jungly, so it's not too bad. I'm going to cover a lot of the sand with tufts, so I'm not too concerned. I'm really rock and rolling there. Get my feet back on the table. But I was talking to the guys at work. Actually, we were talking about stuff that we watched. I think it must have been over Christmas or something. And I watched. I talked about it in my advent calendar. What's it called? Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. Really, really enjoyed it. Enjoyed it far more than I thought I would, actually. And there's a scene in that where they're looking for some captured Austrian guns. And there's a couple of Italian soldiers, well, 3 Italian soldiers that have been killed. So Jonathan Strange sort of raises them from the dead to interrogate them. And I was talking to one of the women in the office, and she was saying, I said, "Oh yeah, I've been watching this Jonathan Strange, Mr. Norrell." And she was like, "Oh, is that the one where they bring the Italians back from the dead?" I mean, she's not into like Napoleonic or anything, but I mean, she watched it when it was first out, 10 years ago or whatever, and that scene really stuck with her. So yeah, no, I mean that was very cool. So yeah, the Napoleonic zombies, I've got a little bit of a soft spot for. I guess the Austrian army could have some vampires in there. Why not? Some vampire Grenzer. No zombies for me, but I gleefully use historical armies for fantasy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we're having a big discussion with my fantasy group at the moment about the Empire and using warlord games as Landsknecks for them. Now, I'm a huge fan of that. Some of the guys, they're a bit sort of the Games Workshop purists. Personally, I think that's a bit silly. I think you use whatever fits, and the Landsknecks work really well. And they are. It's not even that they're cheap. I mean, they are very cheap, but it's just the fact that they're still available. Whereas the Games Workshop seem to delight in just randomly taking stuff off sale. So. Snoop Gruffo. Now, I saw this a while ago, Snoop, and I should have addressed it straight away, and I didn't. So apologies for that. I hope you're still here. Let's see. Hello, I'm thinking of starting Black Powder. I want to get a Waterloo British Army. I watched a video on the topic, but now they've introduced new things. So what would you recommend getting for £200? Oh, yes. No, they have. Well, that's one of the good and bad things about doing those getting started videos, is invariably, as soon as I do them, they go out of date. The big one being when the Perrys have now brought out a unit deal for their mid-war French. I was like, oh, balls. So, if you've got the Waterloo starter set, I would definitely recommend that you get that. That would be my first recommendation, because you also get the rules in there and you get a load of French. Now, the French can be used for British allies. You could possibly get away with using them as Nassau. Not 100% certain about that. You might need to ask on a Facebook group about that. But certainly they looked close enough like the French for the Prussians to start killing them. So they obviously look like them a bit. It depends very much what you're after. So I'd get the Waterloo starter set. I would get the command groups to go with them. I'd probably look at getting a Perry's deal if you can. So maybe 3 boxes of British infantry and a commander. Or, I mean, I always use the RRP, the recommended retail price, on those videos. If you hit up the Outpost or Element Games or something like that, then you can often get them cheaper as well. So sometimes those deals, particularly the Warlord deals, it's actually cheaper to get them from a third-party company, somewhere like the Outpost, than it is to get the deal. So just keep an eye out for that as well. You need to work that out for yourself, because you've also got to add shipping on top of that as well. It depends on what you like as well. I mean, the Perrys are obviously better in some ways than the Warlord ones. Certainly people seem to prefer them. But I really like the fact that the Warlord ones are marching, whereas the Perry ones are in action poses. And, oh, that fire engine's coming back again. I really like marching poses. So, I don't know, it's a tough one. I would definitely go for the Waterloo start set. Get the command groups to go with them. Some cavalry. I would probably go Perry's cavalry. Either light dragoons or hussars. You might want to hold off a little bit, because it looks like the Victrix are doing Scots Greys. But that said, I'm still waiting for the Victrix Bavarians that they announced. Well, it must be over a year ago now. So I don't know about that one. The Warlord Household Cavalry, I must confess, not a massive fan of myself. So I probably wouldn't go for them. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'd pretty much go with what I recommend in the video. Victrix Highlanders certainly would be on my list of things to buy. It really is a question of what you like, what you want to concentrate on. What gets you interested in the period, I think, would be the ultimate thing. I don't know. I mean, if you guys in the chat, if you guys got any ideas of what you can get. Alex from Storm of Steel. We were just talking about you. We summoned you, clearly. Just got here. What rules are garbage? Well hung in dung. The Warhammer Waterloo rules. I don't often bag on rules, because obviously everyone likes different things. Everyone wants to get different things from their rules, but they are absolutely terrible. I had one game in which I was the British. I fired a cannon, and one shot killed, I think it was 2 companies of French troops. They killed like 12 figures. I was just saying, yeah, I don't think we're playing these rules again. Zafar, what is he doing? He is dry brushing some Japanese World War II infantry bases, because he's having a game with them tomorrow, and he is mega behind. That is what he is doing. That Warhammer book is pretty hard to get. Yes, no, it is quite hard to get. I'd also recommend getting Trafalgar if you can as well. That's also good. I managed to get it half price. I got it for a tenner, because I noticed that they were closing down and they were selling all their books for a tenner. So I bought that one, and I bought another one. What was the other one I bought? I think it was Byzantium, Beyond the Golden Gate. And then I spent the last sort of 5 or 6 years collecting all the ones that I didn't have. So I've got the Art of War. That was a really hard one to find. Chariot Wars, I think I've got 2 or 3 copies of that. Outside of Napoleonics. This might be a bit of a surprise to some people. Might not be. I don't know if I've mentioned it before. But outside of Napoleonics, one of my big loves of periods of history and wargaming is Chariot Wars, like biblical era. Absolutely love that that era of stuff. So Egypt and particularly Assyria, I'm a huge fan of. So yeah, I've got a couple of copies of Chariot Wars, but yeah, no, I think the Art of War and I haven't got Siege and Conquest. That's a hard one to get a hold of. The First World War book and the supplement, they were quite hard to get a hold of as well. But I managed to get them both for I think 80 quid in the end, which was quite a lot. But I've seen them go for that each, so I was pretty pleased with that. Shagos and Sprues says I've done 4 units of Warlord resin, and it's a nightmare to work with. Oh right, okay, fair enough then. Sometimes miscast, but paints up nice. Yeah, I have not seen any miscasts yet, but as I said, I haven't really gone through them with a fine tooth comb. But resin, when it does miscast, it can be an absolute nightmare. Yes, absolutely. Just piling these guys back out of the way. Difficult cleaning any more lines of wall of resin. Right, okay, fair enough. Well, that seems to be the consensus, is that they're hard to clean up. So we should play some Chain of Command in Malaya. British and Indians. That'd be awesome, Alex. Yeah, I've got some bolt action Indians, which I need to finish. I need an excuse to finish them. So no, that would be cool. I'm a huge fan of the Indian Army in World War II. I think it's an army that's very certainly for the British, it's very not unknown. Yeah, I guess unknown, you could say. It's its contribution goes almost silent. We all know about sort of the Aussies and the New Zealanders and the Canadians and all that stuff, but the Indian Army, which provided an army of over 1 million men, is often not mentioned. In I think that's a bit of a shame. So yes, I've got an. Oh, it's a bit thick there. That's all right. I'll cover that with a tuft. So yeah, I've got an Indian Army for bolt action as well. But if you're happy to lend, Alex, I am happy to play. Northern Iron Inches hasn't updated his videos in a month. Hope he's not in a rut. Yeah, possibly not. I mean, I should probably message him actually. I know he is at college, so he might be in his exams at the moment. I'm hoping that's what it is, but I shall send him a message and give him all our best and hope that he's okay. That's a thumb down from Basement 98. Now, I'm super behind in the chat, Basement. You're going to have to tell me what that thumbs down was about, I'm afraid. Was it the Warlord resin? 95th Rifles were almost immaculate. Oh, okay, that's good. Tough game to watch. Oh, right, it's the football. Yeah. Yes, no, well, to be fair, Sweden did play very, very well. In the last World Cup, the Americans beat the English girls in the final, so that's why I've got a down on the Americans. But it's not a serious one, really. They certainly when they played the English, they absolutely annihilated them. It was like watching amateurs versus professionals. The Americans were very, very good. Dan's going in for the Austrian Vampires. So well, General Dan, you know, man, I'm liking it. I'm gearing up for Barbarians from Netflix to watch. Okay, cool. Hi, big fan. Hello, Oity Toity. Trying to put together a regiment of Peri-Napoleonic French. Oh, okay, is that the mid-war ones with the long tail coats, or is it the more sort of 1 or 2 piece Waterloo ones? Both of them really nice. Now, speaking of Japanese World War II, there is an incoming Soviet-Japanese war strategy simulation game. Sets in Khalkhin. Oh, okay. I shall have to check that one out. Wargames Atlantic Conquistadors. Yes, no, they may well be. I'm actually really looking forward to the Wargames Atlantic Conquistadors. I did a brief review of their rifles, and I'll be honest, not hugely impressed by them. So I'm hoping that their Conquistadors are better. They're not bad. The rifles aren't bad, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they're a waste of money. You shouldn't buy them. I'm definitely not saying that. But I think there are a couple of missed opportunities there, shall we say. It's one of their first sets. So, you know, it's just one of those things. I'm not surprised. But hopefully as they go on, they'll provide better sets. I am told that the Prussian Reserve Infantry is really, really good. So I think it might just be in the nature of the beast of doing those multi-part sets, really. That you can't please everyone all the time, can you? Someone has super chatted $10, and I haven't said thank you yet. I'm still way behind. Thank you, History Punk. That is ludicrously generous of you. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Where are we? I've lost where I am now. Boots on the Table. What was that Napoleonic themed fantasy skirmish game from a few years ago? I believe it was Flintlock. Although I don't know if that was a skirmish game or not. But there certainly was a game called Flintlock where you had, I think the Prussians, I want to say the Prussians were dwarves, the French were elves, and the British were orcs, I think. Don't 100% quote me on that, but I'm certain someone in the chat will now. I really liked their elf sculpts, actually. They reminded me of a computer game called Kingdom Under Fire, which absolutely no one played, and is one of the best computer games I've ever played. It was sort of like a cross between Total War and the old Lord of the Rings computer games. And the elves in that were like elvish vampires. They were pretty cool. They reminded me of those anyway. Oisty says the 1815 French. I have Perry Metal Regimental Command, but not sure where to place the Eagle Bearer and his guards with halberds. They go in the front rank or second rank. I put my standard bearers in the second rank because it's the flag that you're interested in, really, rather than the guy carrying it. So because I base in 4s or 6s, the guy in front, so if it's a 4 in particular, say it's the British or the Russians, in the front rank I'll have the officer and the drummer, and then in the second rank I'll have the 2 standard bearers. The Eagle Guards, if you're basing in 6s, now I base my French infantry in 6s, you want the Eagle Guards either side of the Eagle. So if I was basing on a 6, I'd have in the middle of the back rank would be the standard bearer with the Eagle Bearers on either side. I'd have in the middle, in front of him, probably the officer, and then the drummer to his left. And if you've got a pioneer, he should really be with the Grenadier Company, but I would put the pioneer next to the officer, or just a sort of a regular infantryman next to him. That's probably how I would go with it. If I was using a mounted officer, he obviously takes up 2 slots, one behind the other. So then I would have him on the left-hand side as you look at it. So he's facing you. He'd be on the left. So that'd be the mounted officer there. And then I'd have Eagle Bearer, Standard Bearer, and then Eagle Bearer. Let's try that again. Mounted officer, Standard Bearer, Eagle Guard, drummer. I'm not sure how historically accurate that would be, but I think that would probably look best on the tabletop, is how I would do it. Particularly the Eagle Bearer with the halberd like on his shoulder, who's got that like little plumed helmet on. He's super cool. I really like him. I have also used those Eagle Bearers as extra standard bearers in the past. The Eagle Bearer would pick up the standard were the standard bearer killed. So in my head cannon, the standard bearer has already been killed, and he's now carrying the eagle, and it's just saved me by an extra command group. The only thing I'm missing really is the drummer, and General Dan will tell you, I hate, and I mean with a burning passion deep within my loins, I hate painting musicians. I don't know why. I just absolutely loathe them. I think it's because they're reverse colours, so you're cracking on nicely. I've got 35 of my boys. They're painted. I mean, the French ones aren't so bad, I suppose. But say it's a British. I got 23 of my Redcoat boys. They're steaming along nicely. I know exactly what I'm doing. I've got into a rhythm. And then it's like, oh yeah, no, my outfit's green or something like that. It's just, oh, it really, really pisses me off. So that's a mini rant there. But yeah, so I have used those Eagle guards in the past as a spare standard bearer. Is what I was going with that one. Where are we? Are the Wargames Atlantic Conquistadors out yet? They are not, I'm afraid, Triple Crown Wargaming. I will let you know when they are, though. Shakers and Sprues says the Outpost seems to have cleared out all their black powder stock. Yes, it was the Outpost that got rid of it all, and not me that bought it. No, they've got rid of a lot of it. I'm not sure what's going on with it, to be honest. They've got a sale on at the moment. Now, for the sale items, it says that they're no longer, that they can't be back ordered. Now, I don't know if that's just while the sale's on, because they don't want you to, order 50 of these boxes at the sale price, or if they're not stocking them again. I am going to pop in on Friday, so I will try and find out what's going on there. They can be a little bit cagey sometimes, so, I get they're a business with what's going on. But obviously, if I when I find out, I'll let you guys know. Particularly as I'm an affiliate for the Outpost, so I'd like to know what's going on with them. I think that's reasonable, so I can let you guys know. Blazer Trail says, I recently got the Waterloo set, although there's a lot to paint. Do you have any tips for painting quicker while still having them look good? Yes, I do. It is called contrast paints. The Games Workshop contrast paints, particularly the white, are absolutely awesome for Napoleonic. I cannot recommend Games Workshop contrast paints highly enough. If you get the French in particular from the Waterloo box, I've all got the great coats on. You spray them the off-white, Corax white, and I'm trying to remember what the grey contrast paint is called. Hang on. Once again, absolutely great radio here. Someone off camera looking through a box of paints. Here we are. Contrast Basilicanum Grey. There we go. That is what I use for my great coats. It's really badly separated there because I've not painted any in a while. Yeah, if you spray them Corax white, paint this on, you can be fairly... that's sort of the colour of it there. You don't really get a great idea of it. But paint that on. Try and avoid the straps as much as you can. You can be fairly slapdash with it, but try and avoid the straps if you can. And 60%, if not more, of that figure is now painted. Bang on the old Black Templar contrast for the Shako covers, boots, things like that. Use what's the brown called? Gorgrunter fur. That's what I use for the packs. And honestly, that's them done. All you've got to do then are the faces, which I would use Guilliman Flesh for. I'd re-undercoat them with a bone colour fur, so either wraith bone or skeleton bone, is it? Screaming skull. Re-undercoat them with that. Bang Guilliman Flesh on over the faces. And honestly, they paint up like nobody's business. The British take a little bit longer because they're not wearing the great coats. But same principle, you use the red contrast, and yeah, you'll get them, you'll smash through them. For the chasseurs, I used the Caliban Green, the Dark Angel one, and that worked quite nicely. Again, they're another nice one because they've only got one strap that goes across them, so you can paint them. And all you've got to do is avoid one strap instead of avoiding two for the French elites or the British. You've got all that stuff all over their fronts. So, yeah, that would be my recommendation. Contrast paint all the way, baby. I tend to try and change it up a little bit. And I'll have, on a base, I'll normally have 4 or 5 in grey. and then one in either blue or brown, just to mix it up a little bit, really. The brown is certainly more historically accurate than the blue, but I quite like the blue ones occasionally. It just breaks it up a little bit. I tend to put 2 blue ones in the Grenadiers and maybe have 1 brown one or 2 brown ones in with the lights, because those guys do obviously a lot more work on their own, so their coats will wear out a lot quicker, and they've just got that local cloth they've made, or maybe even bought one themselves, or shall we say they've found one, they've discovered one that no one was using in a local farm, perhaps. There's a British Army War 2 starter set on Warlord. Would you recommend that? Yes, I would. There's 2. Well, there used to be 2. It was the Lord. What's his name? It's the guy who owns Warlord. Lord something or other's deal. That is the one I would go for. If I was going for that one. But yes, no, it's it's not a bad deal. It gets a lot of boots on the table. I use Victrix for my British because when I started them, they were the only company that did 28mm plastics. So that's why I started with Victrix, and I've just sort of gone on from there. But wise to start again now, I think Warlord or Perry's would be reasonable. But if I went Warlord, I would probably use the Perry's for special units. So as it is, I've got Victrix, but I use the Perry's for my guard, and I would probably do the same if I used Warlord. I'd have Warlord as the line, and then Perry's as guard, or vice versa. Just because you've got different poses then, and it means that they'll stand out on the battlefield quite nicely. Oh, what's that guy's name? Lord, I don't know. He's the guy who owns Warlord anyway. £200 of 80mm Eureka miniatures. Yeah, no, that's a fair, if cheeky suggestion from Alex there. AB figures are very, very nice. If I was starting from scratch, I've said this before, I think I would probably go with AB figures. They are absolutely gorgeous. But that said, they are really, really expensive. I mean, they're more expensive than 28mm, particularly the plastics. But their officers in particular, their personalities are absolute works of art. They're really, really nice. Now, I'm getting through these. I'm slightly concerned, actually, that the sun's going down. It's a bit, it's gone down behind the houses on the other side of the house. This is when I'm not in the attic, you see. I don't get as much light down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, in fact, I'm going to call it day on the bases there. I'll do some of those after the stream's finished, because what I want to do is show you the next part, which is the tufts. So let's have a look here. Just wash my brush out. This brush is like beyond dead though, so I'm not sure it's really worth it, to be honest. But there we go. Now, so I've got some PVA glue. Someone was asking about these the other day. I think it might have been in my fantasy group. Someone was asking about the Army Painter tufts. So let's get my Japanese officers. I'm not doing the flesh on them either. I might have to do that tomorrow at work. So this is Army Painter tufts. I've gone for the jungle tufts here. I've got 12 large ones, 35 medium, and 30 small. So let's have a look. I actually got these to use on my Vietnam figures, but these guys have dived in the way and got in there first. So I get my coffee stirrer, which I absolutely did not steal from Starbucks. So with this one, with the dry brush, I could be fairly crazy about it, because it didn't really matter. But with the tufts, this is where you're adding it to make the final effect on the base. Now, I don't necessarily want to use a large one there. I think a medium-sized one will do. So I'm going to grab this one here. I'm going to pop that in there. Make sure you press it down. So I'm going to get the back of a knife. Now, this is my blunt knife. Blunt knives are very useful to have. Don't always replace the blade straight away when they get blunt. because you don't always want a knife for cutting. That sounds daft, but they are most useful tools for doing other stuff. I'm going to pop that on there, like so. And then I'm going to get a small one on the other side. I don't want two medium ones because that would be a bit too symmetrical. I think it'd look a little bit silly. But I don't just want this one here either, because that would look a bit asymmetrical. So if we go here, so we can see that bush there is quite large. And then I'm going to go for a small one here. And we'll pop that on there. Like so. I'm aware I am mega behind in the chat as well, so apologies for that already. So there we go. So we've got the two there. Now, they are a little bit symmetrical still. He looks a little bit like he's in an ornamental garden. So I'm going to get another tuft, another small one. I'm actually going to cut it in half because I don't want too much here. I just want a small one. So let's get some scissors, cut this in half, like so. I'm going to pop this next to the standard bearer's leg, and that's going to do two things. It's going to stop the symmetry, which looks a little bit daft, and it's going to frame the standard bearer as well. So pop that in there, press it down. And there we go. I am pretty happy with that. You can see the white underneath the tuft on the right hand side as we look at it. Not too concerned about that because it's PVA glue, so it is going to dry clear. But that is my company second in command, now my standard bearer. He is good to go. So pretty happy with that. Let's have a look. I'd quite like it to be a largely red coat thing. Just lines of red coats would be nice. Yeah, I always think the British do look nice in the red and white. I always think they look fantastic. I think Waterloo is the only Warhammer ancient book I don't have. Okay, well, believe me, it's a good book, but the rules are complete trash. You know, for 200 damage, you get an awful lot of Peri-Austrians. Hell of a... We don't need more Austrians. I've still got PTSD from fighting Austrians. I don't need to come against more of them. Alex says they're all 50 mil. Yep, no, it's a fine scale. Like I say, some of the guys who've seen my live streams before will have seen a very, very, very small section of my Essex 50 mil French. I absolutely love Essex minis. They are by far not the best. They're like Mike's models. They're not great at all, but I just absolutely love them. I bought a box of Household Cavalry from Warlord. Now I'm not looking forward to putting them together. Honestly, mate, they're not bad. They aren't bad. They weren't to my taste. So I ended up selling them because I bought some. I think I got some front rank ones. So I ended up selling mine, but they're in certainly at least one battle report, possibly more. So no. Honestly, don't be put off by them. They are okay. They're not bad at all. One of the things I really like about the Warlord Games Household Cavalry actually is there's an arm that's firing a pistol. He's got like the pistol up in the air, and that's not something that you see a lot in plastic cavalry sets. So I thought that was absolutely awesome. I think that's a great addition to the set. So I've put another tuft there on the right hand side as we look at it. So that's the same as the 2IC, but I don't want it to be I don't want it to be the same as the 2IC. So I'm going to put another tuft behind the officer just to make it look a little bit different. Oh. So let's get that there. I might even put an extra tuft on this one as well. Let's see how that one's going. Well, I've completely missed a glue there. Told you the light was going. That's my excuse anyway. There we go. Again, there's a big splurge of white hanging outside there. That's fine though, that's going to dry clear. Now, one thing that I just want to get this done before I go. What time are we on now? We're on 8:45, so I'll probably do another 15 minutes. Is the flesh. Now, for flesh, I use, for the Japanese flesh, I use ungor flesh, which is slightly less pink than what I normally use, and I've now lost the paint. What have I done with it? Always the best preparation in with Napoleonic Wargaming live streams. Ungor flesh, there we go. So it's a little less pink. It just gives you a slight tint without it being sort of comedy colours. Let me give you an example. A 28mm Japanese figure I've got here. I'm outing myself as an absolute weeb here, aren't I? But so we see here, I've got the flesh there. It's just a little bit. No, I've not put the wash on those ones. I'll do it on. I've just washed some flesh. Where are we? No, sorry. I'm trying to find the. Right. Well, let's do it on this 28mm guy. Be able to see it on him. The light going down is a bit red as well, actually. Should be nice, nice weather for my walk into work tomorrow. But not really helping me demonstrate that this colour is not very pink. So this is one of those colours where I've used a different skin tone to represent, you know, obviously they don't have the same skin tones as Europeans. So it's just a little bit different. But yeah, if you're looking for an Eastern, so Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, if you're looking for an Eastern skin tone, then I would recommend ungor flesh with a sepia wash over the top. There you go. So that's him. Let's get him in the light. There we are. Can't really see it very well because of the light, I'm afraid. Let's get him close up. See if I can get him. Come on, camera, you can do it. Oh no, you can't do it. Go on, last try. Come on, camera. No. Yeah. So it just gives you that little sense that they're not, you know, Western European skin tones. Hello, Michael Collins. I am way behind in this. I've finally got to History Punk's $10. Thank you very much, History Punk. I'm glad you're enjoying the Discord. That's something else I'll be doing over August as well. Hopefully, I've said this before and not kept my word, but hopefully I'll be in the Discord a bit more as well. Those of you who don't know, we do have a Discord server. It's open to subscribers, although at the moment it says you have to be the second tier of subscriber. You don't. First tier will do. I need to change that. So if you are a subscriber, there's a little subscribe button to the. Sorry, no. Sorry. You have to be a member. So there's a little join button next to the subscriber button. If you have joined as a member, let me know and I'll add you to the Discord. It's just I just need to change the reward system, and I'll be honest with you, I can't remember entirely how to. I'm also not entirely sure if you can. I think it says that once they're set up, that's it. They're kind of set in stone. So if you do join the channel at any level, let me know and I'll send you an invite to the Discord server. Prussian Reserve Infantry are excellent. Well, that's good to hear, Shakers and Sprues, because I really like that idea of, you know, the reinforcement box of just regular dudes, and you don't get command, you don't get any fancy things like that. It's just you get the guys, the boots on the ground. Really like it. I think it's a really cool idea. Although not to the exclusion of, you know, battalion boxes either. I think there's definitely room for both. Building some foot dragoons for my mounted Spanish dragoons. Oh, that's cool. Game is Gravitine Tactics. No Manohan. Okay. I shall check out for that. Shakes and Sprues, you can get them in metal, and the wall of news plastic resin hybrid are good. I'm just going to get these out of the way while I do this flesh. Once I've done this flesh, I'm going to do the larger base. I just want to get the two company commanders. Oh, well, the company commander, platoon commander, and company 2 IC. I just want to get those done. And then we can rock and roll with the bigger bases. I love the fact that in Flames of War, these guys get they are equipped with swords, and they kill opponents on 2+ in combat. I'm quite sure why the cavalry aren't equipped with swords. The cavalry are terrible in Flames of War. Oh, there you go. He should probably have leather gloves on as well, actually, as officer. But never mind. He's got bare hands. It's a hot day in Manchuria today, so he's taking his gloves off. Actually, no, I'll give that guy gloves. So I'll come back to him later. Yep. I'm one of the reasons I'm so behind on the chat is I keep putting my figures down on the mouse pad of my laptop, and I forgot to grab my mouse before I sat down. So that's that's why. Memes and Strategy asks opinions on 6mm. Me and a buddy are messing around with the tabletop style version of Total War with markers for each troops. I really like 6mm actually. I think it's a really cool scale. What I really like about 6mm is when you've got like a base of dudes and you've got them in formation on the base. One of the best 6mm bases I've ever seen was a cavalry base from Ancients. I don't know what it was, Parthians or something. And they were doing a Cantabrian circle on the base, and that just absolutely blew my mind because it looked absolutely awesome. So yes, no, I really like 6mm actually. Bacchus are very good at 6mm manufacture. Another local Sheffield company, so big up to them. Prussian musicians are easy, same as normal infantry with a drum. Yeah, sounds about right for the Prussians. No messing about there. Although don't forget, you want your clarinetists in the 1st Battalion. That's if when I'm old and senile and I can't remember anything about my videos, the one thing I remember is that the 1st Battalion of, in fact, well, I say that it wasn't clarinetists, it was oboists. The 1st Battalion had a contingent of oboists in their regimental band. So I'm going to put 2 tufts on this one. These guys are obviously going through heavy brush. Now there's a bit of a problem in the basing there, so I might need to put something in there to cover that up. I'm going to put a large tuft in there as well, I think. There we go. Now you could probably do with some loose static grass to go around here. I think I've got some somewhere, so I might add that at a later date. But I just wanted to break up these bigger bases as well. I'll show you if you're doing something Napoleonic-y that you can break up the bases. In fact, I'm going to put that slightly behind. There we go. Now, I would say one of the big mistakes I see people making when it comes to basing is they're often quite stingy because they're like, well, you know, I've got to pay for these. The more I use, the more expensive it's going to be, and that is true. But it does also look a bit naff if you don't use enough. So there's a happy medium to be struck, I think. Let's use a 3rd one on here. I might be going a bit too crazy there. There we go. So these guys are in sort of a heavy brush base. These ones, I'm reasonably happy with that. It's not the best base ever, but it will do. Their flesh is going to need painting at some point as well. So that's how I'm going to continue doing the Japanese. I'm obviously going to have a very, very late night tonight. I can see this already. Fortunately, we're quite quiet at work tomorrow, so that's nice. But I'm going to go for my French artillery, and that's going to close out the video. So this is my artillery. Now for these, I use foregrounds, 4mm static straw static grass. That's the yellow, the infamous yellow on my bases. A lot of people say to me like, "Oh, Tim, why do you use yellow? It's quite unusual." And I'm like, "Well, you kind of answered your own question there." When you see photographs of the greatest game, the big Waterloo game, I'm like, I can see my figures from across the table because they've got all the yellow grass on their bases. But the idea is that it's supposed to be like straw. So I'm looking at towards the end of a campaign season, something like Borodino, or well, no, it's in the depth of winter, isn't it? But yeah, I mean a Borodino or a Friedland, something like that, where the maybe the wheat has gone golden, it's not green anymore, and that's the plan. So with these, I tend to do like streaks almost. Now, again, you want to be careful because they can, if they've got a hard edge, they can look a bit naff. So try and just break it up a little bit. And then you get your grass. When I worked for Games Workshop, this was always my favourite part of doing a painting intro, was doing the static grass, because the kids always absolutely loved it when you made it stand up. So it's important to use pinchers. Don't just pour it on, because then you'll get lumps. So you need to use a pinch. Make sure that there's not a really hard ball in the middle of it, where it's all static together. Push it down with your thumb. This, I'm aware this is, for many people, teaching Granny how to suck eggs. But for people who have asked me how I do my basing, or people who aren't sure, this is how. So bung it all on. I've pressed it down. Tap it off back into the pot. We don't want to waste it. That rock's just fallen off. It's a bit of a shame. Upside down. Tap it a few times. Make sure the grass stands up. And then just push it up around the edges with your finger. And there we go. There's a nice bit of grass there. Now, one thing again that I quite like doing with artillery in particular is it's about the sort of the story that the base tells. So if you bung some here, like that, and I'm going to bung some here on the other side of that wheel as well, you'll see I'm leaving a little trough there where the wheels, it's fired and it's shot backwards and trampled the grass down. Now, you could do it as like tampered down grass if you wanted to, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to bung this on there. Again, press it down. You couldn't see there, but when I'm pressing it down, I'm actually squeezing it with my thumb on the other side of the base. So that's that one there. Tap that off. Bung this on there. Now, I just saw then it's actually gone over that little lane that I left. That's not the end of the world, though, because we'll get that back there. See, that lane's disappeared. But we'll come back in with my coffee stirrer. Push that up. Push that back there. Get my trusty blunt knife. Push it in. Push that out there. And there we go. We've got a little rut there showing, oh, there we are, showing where the wheel's gone. And as it's fired, the wheel's blasted back. It's gone there. For my, I've recently just based on First World War. British artillery, actually, for Flames of War again, 50mm. And I've put the mud up on the wheels as well. So, because obviously it's in sort of, Passchendaele style mud. So that looks super cool as well. It's that little thing. It doesn't require a huge amount of effort. And that's crucial for me. It doesn't require much more time or effort, but it's just a little thing that just adds a little bit more character to your models. Right, here we go. These are the Victrix artillery, these ones. I fancy doing a howitzer because I don't have that many howitzers. And in honor of General Andy's setting of Hougoumont on fire, I thought we'd have a go. So there we go. Oh shit! I've just got some on the back of his boot. That's not good. Now the corners of the base, we can see that one doesn't have grass on. This one doesn't have grass on. This one probably won't either. So I'm going to do grass on the corner of this base here, where my thumb was. There we are. Cover that over. And again, it just stops that. You don't want it to be symmetrical. I'm a man who loves a bit of symmetry. Bit of Palladian architecture. Happy with that. But when it comes to nature, you don't necessarily want it. So there we go. Again, I am fully aware I'm completely ignoring the chat. I do apologize. I'm going to get back to it in a second because I've also seen another super chat. So I want to say thank you very much for that. Where's that super chat come from? What is going on with my computer? Oh, I did see a super chat. Where has he gone? Gaslight Studios, a super chat, another $2. Thank you, Gaslight. Were the Spanish that bad in the Napoleonic Wars? Is the answer to that question. I have done a deep dive into the Spanish. I would argue yes, largely. But I know there's a swell of opinion saying that they weren't as bad as everyone makes out. And I've certainly found with the Brunswick OL that occasionally the British sources don't perhaps give non-British units the credit they deserve. So let's put it that way. But yeah, I think the Spanish were pretty terrible. I think one of the big problems they had was that the government was quite corrupt. They put a lot of resources into the Navy, and Lord Nelson showed that was a bit of a waste of money. So the army were not great. They were very much like the early Prussians. They were just very outdated, I think, and that was their main problem. They were, battalion or regiments were almost owned by their colonels. So it meant that there was a huge disparity in training and skill. It meant that there were no inter-regimental exercises, things like that. So ironically, the best formations were the ones that were trained by the French for the invasion of Denmark. But yeah, no, by 1813, I think the Spanish were probably all right. But certainly early on in the war, 1809, I don't rate them very much. So there we go. I got a bit of glue in the wrong place there. I nearly put them. Where are we? There we are. Finally get it on camera. And nearly put it here behind that wheel. There's some glue there, so that'll dry clear though, so that's all right. But there you go. So that is me based that French gun. I think it looks all right. I'm pretty pleased with it, if I'm honest. I've got nowhere near the amount of Japanese done that I needed to, but whatever. It's just been cool hanging out with you guys, really. I'm going to quickly go through the rest of the chats. Soity says, thanks for the info. I'm a noob at Napoleonic and it's quite hard to get information. Your channel is a great source. Thank you, dude. That's the best feedback I can get, really, is that the channel's helping people new to the period. Steve Harmer, good evening. I don't know when you posted that. I'm hoping it wasn't too long ago, because I am aware, though. Update on Wayland Games. I think they came in some criticism for previous video. Ordered items Monday evening, so you can receive my items this morning. Oh, fantastic. That's really good to hear, Nick. I used to go to Wayland Games quite a lot when I lived down in Essex. So it's good to hear that they have improved. So John Gameson says, just got back into the hobby 9 months ago. Finding your vids a great help. Thanks. Thank you for watching them, John. That's the important thing. Boots on the table is I clearly spoke too soon, didn't I? So, well, I'm not laughing at you, dude. It's I'm laughing at myself. I clearly spoke too soon. See you later, Alex. Thank you. You've probably long gone. Apologies. AP Tufts are good, but Gamers Grass Tufts are awesome. I've heard that. John Stollard, he's the guy who owns Warlord Games. Thank you, Basement. That was a while ago. Must have ordered the wrong things in done 1 month. Yeah. I've had the problem of border as well as posting up some prices. Yeah. Yes, no, it can be a bit of an issue. Did you know you can stream on Discord? Could be cool if you do that weekly. Yes, I did know that you can stream on Discord. I could do. Well, yeah, I could do that for the Saturday morning paint-alongs, couldn't I suppose? You could get a flow box and make your own 2 decent standard. Yes, a Fox box, sorry. My brother, he always goes on about getting one of those. I haven't got round to it yet, but the yellow could be the grass becoming worn after being marched across all day. Well, exactly. Yep, it could be that. This is making me depressed. My basing game sucks. I really need to work on it. Basement. Well, I mean, with that name, you can't do. You've got to be good at that, surely. But what I would say is, it's not that difficult to do. It just takes. You need to look at it and sort of think about, have a plan as you go in, and what you want to do. I once heard the 3 sort of the trifecta of things to look at. I'm just thinking, I'm just sat here doing nothing, and I really can't afford to be. The trifecta of things to look for is faces, bases, and flags, as they say. So make sure you've got good flags. That's why I always recommend GMB Design. Again, another Sheffield company. We're really bigging up the Sheffield today. They're very good. Flags of War, also very good. When the guy's not on paternity leave. Yeah, I don't know. I am, of course, joking. Congratulations to those guys. So flags, do the best you can for them. Faces, it depends on scale, I suppose. If you're doing 6mm, I wouldn't worry too much about the faces. And bases. Bases are, I think the smaller the figure, the more important the base becomes because you see more of it. The smaller the scale of the figure. But yeah, I mean, you've seen today. It's nothing. There's no rocket science there. It's fairly simple to do. Now, this one here is going to be a real pain in the arse because he's got, you can't see because of the light, but he's got a big dent in his base there. And he's also got his little knee mortar. So I don't want to cover his knee mortar, but I do want to cover that dip in the base. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to cover his knee mortar. He's going to be a surprise attack from the knee mortar. He's Japanese, I suppose, so they do like that kind of thing. There we go. I think that works, doesn't it? Just about covers that gap. But so the initial plan was to get all these Japanese done and to go through what the plan for the autumn is for the channel. I've done neither of those things. But what I have done, and far more importantly, is I've really enjoyed just hanging out with you guys and chatting absolute rubbish. I do apologize for being so far behind in the chat. Thank you very much for the super chatters. You guys are absolute mega superstars. I cannot believe how much support people give me. Thank you so much. It really does mean a lot to me. And thank you to everyone else who has watched. I'm just going to read the last few messages and then I'm going to shoot off. Shring7 says, been listening while sorting board games for the kids. Thank you. Well, thank you for listening, Shring. I hope you and the kids enjoy your board games. We've got a board game cafe here that I'm trying to persuade the guys to visit. It's not really her kind of thing, though, so I'm not sure if she will. But I don't know, you keep plugging away, can't we? Maybe one day I might get to try Carcassonne or something like that. I think, see, I'd really like it to play Hero Quest, but I might be waiting on that one. This base here, I've just noticed I've done exactly the same as I've done on the other officer's base. But, well, there's only so many combinations you can do. Snoop Gruffalo says, do you know if Warlord does a sale around Christmas? I don't know if they do. They used to do one in the summer. Christmas, I'm not so sure about. Check out the Outpost at the moment. They've got a sale on with some Warlord stuff in it. I'm not entirely sure what, though. because I am trying to save up some money, so I'm banning myself from looking. That said, I will be putting in an order in with Front Rank this month, which is going to be quite an expensive one, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Thanks Boots on the Table. Thank you, Shakers and Sprues. Wars of the Roses Infantry. Oh, so I hope you checked out my knights earlier on. I'm not sure who I'm going to do them as yet. They're just generic knights at the moment. They are from Peter Pig. They just completely off topic. Peter Pig Wars of the Roses range is absolutely gorgeous. It is one of the nicest figure ranges I think I've ever seen in any scale. I absolutely love their stuff, and unfortunately, I've got an absolute ton of 50mm Wars of the Roses stuff already, and it's not Peter Pig. And I'm now disappointed that it's not Peter Pig, I have to say. Cheers, Louis. Thank you, Leslie. Just keep going, doing those. Yeah, no, I'm going to be up till midnight, aren't I? This is not too bad. I've got to be up till 12 anyway, because Katie's working this evening. And listening, well, we have that one. Thanks, Boots on the Table. Nice pastime. Oh, yeah. Have you been doing Wars of the Roses? Well, you've been doing Wars of the Roses. Well, everyone's doing Wars of the Roses. Email Wayland. Thank you, Cat Roger. I am going to call it a day there. Thank you very, very much, chaps. And I will see you either in the Paintalongs, not this Saturday, but from the Saturday after. And I will put the rest on eBay. Yeah. Well, some of them are Mike's models, and I absolutely love Mike's models. So there's that as well. But yes, thank you very much, guys. I will see you chaps soon. Have a lovely August. I'm told that we're going to have another heat wave here in the UK. So I've got that to look forward to and or suffer through. And I shall see you guys soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.